Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to episode 282 of the 4,000 Question Challenge. And this one starts out with a lead-in type passage, where the lead-in is, how do you explain why? And the two follow-up questions in this section are, radar detectors are sold if they are illegal. Radar detectors aren't really illegal now, are they? You can use them. They exist. The police don't like it, but they can't really stop you. I put that in the same category as encryption. And how do you explain why so many people have a drug problem? Because there are lots of problems in the world, and people are looking for a coping mechanism. And there are bad coping mechanisms. Drug addiction is the result of people looking for a fast fix to their other problems by drug use. They use the drugs for a short-term relief, and that then, of course, can lead to addiction in certain people. A lot of people can actually use drugs and not become addicted. Unfortunately, everyone thinks that they are part of that group, and not everyone is. So some people are lucky. They can use drugs even for a fairly long period of time and not become hardcore addicts. Other people can use the drugs only casually and get addicted. So in my book, the best thing to do is not use addicting chemicals, but that's just me. Okay, now we're on to some straight up questions. Have you learned more from successes or failures? We're bad at learning from successes, so I'm going to say failures. What is the thing that most limits your freedom? I'm going to say money. If I had an unlimited amount of money, I could then do many things that I can't at the moment. So yeah. Do you consider suicide to be murder? How do you think God views suicide? Do I think suicide is murder? What kind of Calvinistic bullshit is that? This person's supposed to be a Buddhist? Holy crap. Well, since I'm not a believer in an omniscient God that judges people, and if a God's going to, then my active response would be, then why did you create a situation that was so difficult for a person to tolerate that they couldn't? And and God's response is going to be, well, I was testing them. That's a bullshit God, and you don't need them. Don't go testing people. Don't test someone else's trust intentionally just to see how they'll react. And if you're a God, don't test how the mettle of someone, how well they can survive something by putting pressure on them until they break, and then don't judge them when they do. So yeah, that's bullshit. What is the biggest change since your childhood in the way people act or think? So you're talking about on a societal level. Well, we've got these now. That's a big change. But there is far more anonymous interaction in today's world than there was when I was a kid. It was very difficult to interact with other people anonymously when I was a child. Now, we do have the wonders of the internet. You're looking at me over it right now. I haven't created this channel, and my main hobby, which wouldn't have existed when I was a kid, when I was 12. I could have dreamed of something like this, though even then I would have been dreaming of something more along the lines of like what Star Trek had, which really didn't reflect the internet, the social media aspects of what we actually have achieved. So yeah, I'm going to go with anonymity. Anonymity. Yeah, I can't say that word apparently, because it's a two-edged sword. It has allowed us. Sorry, making sure my camera's still going. The cat has been a pain in the butt. It's allowed us to do things that we couldn't online. Like, you don't know who I am completely. And that's because I control how much information I give out. And lots of people can do that. They can be gay and they can be trans on the net. A woman can interact with the world and people don't know she's a woman. So there's ways for us to protect ourselves, and that's good. The flip side of that is Gamergate, is doxing, is harassment, is the ugly side of YouTube, is the reason I'm blocking people almost every day on my channel. And I don't have a big channel. I got 6,000 subscribers at the time of this recording. I think it was 658 today. 6,058 people today. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to say anonymity, which apparently is a word I still can't say. What is a fundamental truth you hold? Fundamental truth I hold. I've had a lot of them tested. My first reaction would be, say, be compassionate to yourself and others, but I'm having a harder time being compassionate than I did at one time. Because I have encountered so much ugliness and hatred in the past few years. I guess it's going to be to quote Rorschach. No compromise, even in the face of the apocalypse. What do you believe our individual rights should be? Well, I believe that we should have a list of rights, and the International Bill of Rights that created by the UN is a good start. I have not read it in detail. I've read it, but I haven't read it in detail recently, so I couldn't tell you if I would change it at all. That'd be a good place to start. But it needs to make sure that we take care of ourselves and others, and we respect ourselves and others, and the law allows us to do that. So there should be human rights and civil liberties that protect us, everyone. Protect our freedoms, protect other people's freedoms, and make sure that you cannot have, for example, the tyranny of the majority, which is what we suffer from in America constantly. Minority groups are constantly squashed, either officially or unofficially, by the government and by society, and that's wrong. Alrighty. Are you sympathetic to the underdog? The underdog in what case? I mean, there are lots of times when the underdog is a group that I do sympathize with, but there are sometimes the underdog isn't the good guy. And while I may be sympathetic to them on the level if they are human and I don't want them to suffer, I may not sympathize with their goals and their end mission in life. So again, the world isn't binary. And lastly, for episode 282, what is your first impression of a person in a military uniform? My first thought is often, why is this person in a military uniform in front of me? Because I am not someone that is in an area where there is a lot of military. So my first thought is, why is this person in the military uniform? What reason does that person have for that act? But also, I also think that I'm thankful for their service. If someone is in the military and serving the military in the United States of America honorably, I'm thankful for that. It's a risk I was not willing to take. It's a risk most people weren't willing to take. But it's a downside to being in the military. It can change people in a very bad way. And it can attract the wrong people. So I have mixed feelings about the military. Always have, probably always will. So thank you for being here for episode 282 of the 4,000 Question Challenge. I hope you will be here for episode 283.